you have this experience, not only understand intellectually, but when you have this experience, then the way you meet life is never going to be the same. You're not going to get stuck in blaming others. You're not going to get stuck in judging yourself continuously. You're not going to get stuck in that freeze. Yeah? You will remember how it feels to be in that openness to life. And when you are in the openness to life, you are in the openness towards the deepest truth of you. What I want to talk to you about today is about emotions and about transmuting the emotions, and how each and every one of us has something inside that, like a mechanism that can transmute any emotions, even the most difficult emotions. Hello, please say hi when you come on. There are quite a few of you already here. Maybe say your name in the comments, so I also know your names, also where you're tuning in from. That's always really interesting, how we are in this global, virtual space together. So, emotions, yeah? I would love to know, what are the most challenging emotions for you? Which emotions, when you experience them, it just really makes you really uncomfortable on the inside. Hi Ariana, hi Buck from Seattle. Hello you guys from India. Yazan from Jordan, welcome. Ariana from Holland, hi guys. So let me know, what are... Oh, someone from Russia. Yes, hello, Nina. So yeah, what are those challenging emotions for you? Despair, that's a big one. Hello, Tara. Sadness. Sometimes I might feel like there's so much sadness you can drown in that sadness. It's like so many tears. It feels like you can drown in your own tears. Feeling love from another or expressing that to someone, that's so difficult. Yes, that can be also very difficult. Rejection. Well, rejection is not a feeling, but there is a feeling underneath, maybe anger. Yeah, anger can be very difficult. And we have that palette of emotions, and some people are very at ease with some emotions, and other emotions are just like, wow, no, it's too much. It's always tied in with our experiences as children. You know, we cannot separate those things. Jealousy, yeah. Depression is a consequence. Yeah, depression will be a consequence of a lot of sadness, for example, or grief. And so, fear, yes, fear is a very strong emotion that many are really not comfortable with. I have to actually share that now, seeing your comment, for me, fear is quite a challenging emotion, actually. And how we deal with emotions is also different. For example, how I used to deal with my fear, I would just not feel it. Like, I would be like, fear, I don't have this emotion in my life. It's like not about me. Like, I'm so courageous, I jump from all cliffs, I'm taking chances all the time. Like, it's just not in my reality. But in fact, what I realized with my own trauma work, with my own healing work, is that I have fear, but I have been afraid of feeling my fear. And because something happened in my childhood that actually showed me that it's a very scary place to really be with that fear. So how we deal with emotions, usually there are 3 ways. One way, very common, is that you have an emotion, something is activated inside you, like someone did something, someone said something that you didn't like, something you perceived as being uncomfortable, it triggered you, that a reaction happened, you reacted. And then there is like a very common thing to do is to tell others that they are doing it wrong. Wrong. This is not right, you shouldn't talk to me like this, you shouldn't behave like this, you should be different. so projecting it on the outside. Yeah, so seeing how the world is responsible for how you are feeling, and blaming. Yeah, it can be very subtle blame, but even like that feeling that they did it wrong and I did it right, it's also that kind of way to put your emotion, put the responsibility for your emotion on somebody else. Yeah, so we do that. That's one way how we cope with emotions. And it's not wrong. Like, I also want to say that none of those ways are wrong, and I will explain also why they're not wrong. Then another way how we can deal with emotions is that we really internalize it, and we really look inside, and we feel, oh my God, I'm just a bad person. So that's why it happens to me. Nobody likes me. They don't want to be my friends. They don't want to accept me. I don't belong. Yeah, and then internally we internalize, and it's a bit more like a reserved kind of type, and you don't really want to share so much with others because it feels like they're not going to accept you, and those emotions won't be welcome. So there's this thing, kind of turning it all inwards, internalizing. Yeah, then there's another way. What we commonly use is that we can look completely cool, we can look completely normal on the outside, and continue behaving like as if nothing happened. It's very common in spiritual communities, actually, because there's a notion that emotions are not spiritual, that emotions are kind of from our egoic personal identity, that it's like we're too involved into something, we're too reactive. From your spiritual self, you're not meant to react. And that's quite dangerous, actually. I've seen a lot of that. And what happens to those people, like, they're like, I'm not going to react, I'm not going to show reaction. For that reason, maybe there is a notion that it's not spiritual, or for another reason, which I am very familiar with, is that because if I show my emotion, I'm afraid that something horrible is going to happen to me. Like, my parents will be upset with me, my mother will be yelling at me, something like that. So I prefer not to show my emotion, and just pretend that I'm totally cool. That used to be kind of my main strategy, my main coping mechanism. And then for many other people, it's also like you feel frozen on the inside, actually. You don't feel what is going on. You just show like a normal facade, but inside you just like frozen. Yeah, it's like you're almost not breathing. The breath can be a really good indicator to what's going on. Yeah, because sometimes with those people, even you can ask me, in the past you would ask me, or any person who has this kind of reaction, you can ask, how are you feeling? Like, fine, I'm fine. But then if you observe this person, you will see that they are barely breathing, or their breath is very, very shallow. So that's a symptom of actually trauma activation. So all those ways, they are not bad, but they are all coping mechanisms. Yeah, so they all signify that actually something in you is activated, that it's like a memory is activated, a subconscious memory is activated that takes you back to your childhood. And then when you feel all of a sudden really angry and you just want to put this anger onto someone else, yell at someone, lash out at someone, it's actually your inner child is asking for protection. And then there's a part of you that comes and goes like, okay, I'm going to protect you. But it's not really what protects us. Yeah? Or that other one that just withdraws and turns inwards. It's also a coping mechanism, that something like a pain is activated, and then you're scared that somehow this pain is going to turn against you, and you will be left alone, rejected if you express your emotions. Yeah, so another coping mechanism. Or that freeze response, and kind of looking cool on the outside but frozen on the inside. It's also a coping mechanism that, like as I shared in my story, in my childhood, my mother was very emotional, incredibly emotional, constantly different emotions, and I could never know what to expect from her. Sometimes she was very loving, other times she would push me away, and it was all unpredictable, incredibly unpredictable. And I knew that if I would show my emotion, I didn't know what's gonna come to me. I didn't know if she would listen to me, if she would understand me, if she would hold me. So I learned to cope by just being an adult way before I was an adult, and just being cool. Yeah. So yeah, none of that is bad, but we can learn to change that, because as we mature as human beings, and if we really want to come to a deeper inner freedom, we have to understand emotions. There's just no other way. Like, we really have to befriend our emotions and see them for what they are. Because all those responses, they are responses from our childhood. They are responses from our inner children. And bashing them and telling, oh, again, I feel like that, it's so bad, I should be over that, I should be more evolved than that, that doesn't help, right? Because it's an inner child, so we need to approach it with softness. So we need to do any kind of work that needs to be done to see this inner child, to notice the pain that is being activated through that. Yeah. First of all, to just stop, whenever you have an emotion, and before lashing out or withdrawing or just freezing, if possible, you just stop, take a breath. Yeah, that's always a really important first tool we have, to take a deep breath. This will do something magical in the brain. It will change the pattern. Yeah, because the pattern is like, okay, I feel something, I don't think, I just react immediately. But when we slow it down and we take a breath, we are changing the pattern. Yeah, already it's an excellent step. Then you can notice, okay, what's the pain? I can see the reaction I want to create. I want to say something nasty, or I want to turn inwards. Notice, okay, that's what the reaction wants to happen, the reaction that I want to create. Yeah, or even going into depression. Yeah, someone said like depression is difficult, but depression is also a reaction. Yeah, so it's like kind of indulging. Yeah, there is a sense of like just going deeper and deeper and deeper and kind of indulging into the darkness. Yeah, so just try to catch yourself as soon as possible and go like, okay, but what's the emotion? What really is the emotion? And then you will feel it's either sadness, or even deeper layer of sadness is grief, or it's anger. A bit more surface of anger is frustration. Yeah, and then the rest, like there's this whole spectrum, also all sorts of various different things. Fear, yeah, fear is another very strong one. Yeah, maybe there's fear. And for me personally, I notice that whenever I have this, like my freeze response, this coping mechanism that I refer to mostly when my trauma is activated, this freeze, and then when I stop, and as soon as possible, as soon as it happens, when I can, take a breath, and then I realize that what is actually happening is I'm scared. And then going like, oh, but there's really not such a big deal, what to be scared of? But I'm scared. Something like a vulnerable, tender part of me is scared. And I'm not gonna bash this little part of me, because it's precious, and I love my inner little child. So I will be with my inner little child. I will, if appropriate, I will share it with the person who is with me. If it's my partner, of course, I will share with him how what is happening for me. Then we can together work with it, and we know we have like conversations about it, and we know how to hold me in those moments. So, but then, yeah, once this process is done, and even before that, actually, it can also work. There is another thing that I want to tell you today about, is this way to befriend your emotions, to see that your emotions, they are not enemies, to see that your emotions, they actually are energy in motion. Yeah? Emotion, that's what they are. They are energy, your emotions. And energy is not bad, and it's not even good. It's just energy. Yeah? And everything in life is energy. It's like we attach a certain story to it. Then it becomes bad or good. Yeah, we remember, like, we don't like when people get angry and yell at us. Then we say it's a bad emotion. Anger is a bad emotion. You shouldn't be angry. I shouldn't be angry. It's not good to be angry. No, anger is just anger. It's just manifestation of energy. Specifically, it's a fire energy. And some people are really uncomfortable with fire, which is a pity, because your fire is your power. And if you want to really tap into your power, you have to tap into your fire and get comfortable with fire. And even see like people are yelling and screaming, and you get angry and agitated, and then go like, okay, it's fire, it's fine. And you know what? The best part is that you need to remember that every emotion is going to pass. And the more conscious you are about this work and about this transmutation work that I'm going to bring in this next piece, the faster those emotions move, the faster that energy changes. And energy, that's the nature of energy. It's always, I want to say she because it's life, really. Energy is life. So she's always changing life. She's always in motion. It's only when we try to grasp it and go like, okay, this is what it is. I am just a sad person. That's my destiny. That's who I am. Yeah. Or this person, they're just an angry person. That's how they are. They're going to be always angry. But, if you give space to feeling those feelings, you will be amazed. Because you will see they change like that. When you give space to something, it just has nothing else to do but move and transform into something else. I hold space for people for about 10 years in my trainings and my retreats, online also, but of course sometimes in trainings sometimes I've had up to 60 people in the training. Sometimes at workshops I've had hundreds of people in front of me, and we go into those processes where I really invite them to really feel what is inside. And I say, yes, you are safe to feel it all. Yeah, I am holding space for you. We are all in it together. We have a powerful container here. You are safe to feel it all. Go in. That's it. And then the people are like, sometimes for some people it's like, oh yeah, finally, and they just go into it all. For some people it's like, oh my God, no, I cannot go there. It's not safe. It's dangerous. It's not how it goes. And it's okay. Yeah, you will go as far as you can. Yeah, but then what happens in those groups is amazing, because when people trust this and they go in, and first there may be roaring and screaming and stomping on the ground, and then all of a sudden, because this energy was given space, then all of a sudden they just slow down and then kind of get more quiet, and then can roll in a ball and start crying, and there's some grief coming up, and then we give space to that, and then again that changes, and it changes into something else, and then all of a sudden there's so much lightness in the heart, all of a sudden there's such joy, such ease, and then again a layer of sadness, and then wow, some fire is coming forward, and again some anger, and then like this it changes, and then eventually people come to that space of just being, just being and seeing everything unfold, life unfold, energy unfold. So the piece about transmutation is that you can transmute. So transmutation is a term from physics, that you take something and then you make it into something else. Like they can convert lead into gold. Yeah, that's what's possible. So you take some kind of energy and you transmute it into something else. So you take energy that is very heavy, maybe the energy of this kind of this low, kind of taking you down, like kind of taking you into the depressive realms, this heavy kind of energy, and it's like whatever triggers that. Yeah, maybe life is so difficult, it's so unpredictable, what's going to happen, and this and that and that, and this lockdown, endless, and that. Yeah, whatever is bothering you, yeah, and that takes you down. And then you have a way, you have a mechanism, inbuilt mechanism. Every single person has this inbuilt mechanism that you can take that energy, feel it, and transmute it. It even works like this with the chakra system, yeah, that chakras that sit along our spine, that knowledge from yoga. that actually you can move energy from your lower chakras to your higher chakras. There are specific techniques in yoga that I also teach to my students, but even better than that is a way to transmute this energy. Thank you for that love. Thank you so much. Someone paints. Jill says she paints. It's beautiful. You can transmute that energy into creativity. This is a beautiful thing to do. You can start singing, yeah? But also, what you can do is you can take it into pleasure. And you can recognize pleasure in feeling it all. And you can see what actually unlocks in you the dimension and depth of pleasure that unlocks in you when you are feeling it all. And you can see that all those feelings, whatever they are, and we are such we are emotional beings, men, women alike. Yeah? Some men are even more emotional than some women that I know. It doesn't matter. It is the feminine side of us, the feminine type of energy, that feeling type of energy, that is emotional. But everybody has it. Yeah? Men also have it. So, but usually, maybe also in many kind of generally in the dynamics in the couples, quite frequently it's women who are really the emotional ones. And yeah, like that's how we are built. And it's really important to give space to all that life, especially for people who really want to discover their deep feminine essence and understand how to live from the feminine, how to lead from the feminine, how to run business from the feminine, how to create from it, how to make love from the feminine, how to surrender into the feminine. It's all the feminine that does all those things. How to orgasm from the feminine. People ask me how to go into those full body orgasms. I wrote a whole book about it. But really, it is about going into your feminine, regardless whether you're a man or a woman. And how to go into your feminine? Is it just, to put on a bit of makeup, put on a kind of nice skirt and fancy shoes? No, that's not the feminine. It's superficial feminine, which also has beauty and has its place. But the real deep feminine is so much deeper than that. A real deep feminine is really about befriending life, recognizing yourself as alive, not stopping life, not trying to control life, not trying to control the outcome of every little thing, not trying to just be in charge of everything, what's happening, who is doing what, who is saying what, how this is affecting you. Just opening to it and just saying yes to life. It's not just, I say just saying yes to it, but it's really difficult. It takes a lot of inner work. It takes commitment. It takes commitment. So, there is a way to take all that energy, to own all that energy, and to invite it to blast you open, to blast you open into life, to blast you open into connectedness with all there is, with all of life. So that's what we are going to do tomorrow in the Boundless Pleasure Workshop. So it's like you can understand this. Yeah, and maybe some of you are really like, wow, that really hits home. I really understand it, and maybe this transmission, what you're receiving now from me, maybe that will be enough. Maybe you'll be like, yeah, I totally understand. Yeah, I can give space to all my feelings and not judge them and to take care of my little one and my inner little child and everything, and then just like utilize all that energy that's inside of me and just open into life like that and into pleasure. But I would love for you to have a direct experience of that, because it will change your life. Because from that moment on, when you have this experience, not only understand intellectually, but when you have this experience, then the way you meet life is never going to be the same. You're not going to get stuck in blaming others. You're not going to get stuck in judging yourself continuously. You're not going to get stuck in that freeze. Yeah? You will remember how it feels to be in that openness to life. And when you are in the openness to life, you are in the openness towards the deepest truth of you. So I would love to guide you into that. And that's what I'm doing tomorrow for a beautiful group of people. There is a gorgeous group already gathered. We're going to gather live. It's going to be in the comfort of your own place, whatever is your favorite place. It's very important that you're not going to be disturbed for the duration of the class. And you're going to go into very deep parts of you. And you're going to unlock something incredibly sacred inside of you. And you're going to give space and permission to all of you, to all parts of you, even the parts of you that you've neglected for most of your life. You're going to give space to all of that. And you're going to see how beautiful it is and how natural it is for you to transmute that and to bring everything back to love. Because in its essence, everything is love. Everything is coming from love. Love is our origin, and also it's also our destination. So this work of recognizing the essence of what the things are, it means that you're recognizing the essence of love, and then you are realigning yourself with the path that your soul has chosen once it decided to incarnate here. And that path is to come back to your origin, to come back to love. Someone's asking if there are still places in my retreat. In tomorrow's workshop there are spaces. That's a really good way for you to jump into my work. It's gonna be like jumping full into fire. So you can join tomorrow. It's gonna be amazing. 2 hours filled with beauty. And not that kind of polished little beauty of kind of polished little thingies. No, a raw beauty of humanness. That's what I call beauty. So welcome to ask me any questions. I would love for you to go ahead and sign up. We are starting in less than 24 hours, so you can still join. I would really love for every being, actually, for every person to have this experience. It's something that I come back to again and again in my own self-practice. Sometimes people ask me what kind of practices I do, what kind of practices I recommend. That's the kind of practice. Yeah, Ayam. I don't know if it's your real name, but I am so happy to experience boundless pleasure tomorrow. How long will it take? The workshop will take 2 hours, and we will start on time, and everybody will be there. We will all create a container together. So it will be a really safe, powerful space, and it really works like that in virtual space as well. That was one of the revelations of these times we live in, the lockdown and all that. I discovered that those virtual spaces, they hold incredible amount of power. Like, wow, people have had experiences which I actually didn't even expect they would have. I thought it will still be kind of diluted by the format that we are not together in a physical space. But no, actually, amazing stuff happened.